Here we go again. There is this disturbing trend developing with some athletes. Hell, it's not developing. It has been established and proven. The bad thing about this trend is it actually can work in some cases. Now, it doesn't work with us normal people, but it does work in the identifier community. I was going to pick up my Forerunner earlier this afternoon, and while driving to the mechanic's house who was working on it, he lives in a rural area, but while passing his house, I passed a farm that had some goats and some cows, some horses, and there was this one particular goat. He was sticking his head through the fence, eating some grass. And I thought to myself, I wonder if that goat used to be a 21-year-old dude who became a surgically enhanced goat. He had the surgery because he identified as a goat. But anyway, back to this disturbing trend in sports. If you're an athlete and you see your career trajectory on the decline, or your career's not going how you expected it to go, instead of busting your ass, working harder to improve your situation, what do? You turn yourself into a victim. This only works, of course, if you fall into a protected class. We saw it happen with the ultimate victim, Colin Kaepernick. His NFL career was headed towards the fast track of early retirement, so he uses the NFL platform to become a political activist. Colin Kaepernick paved the way for other losers to follow in his footsteps. Megan Rapinoe, she copied the Kaepernick way. But KC, Megan Rapinoe was a successful soccer player before she became a political activist. She was winning championships and World Cups. Yeah, that's true. But had you ever heard of Megan Rapinoe before she dyed her hair purple and became the female Colin Kaepernick? Had you ever heard of Megan Rapinoe before she began demanding equal pay for women in sports, even though they don't generate close to the revenue the men generate? Megan Rapinoe was a winner on the field, that's true. But if no one was there to watch, does it really matter? If people don't care, the championships, they lose some of their appeal. If a professional bowler wins 100 events in a row, it doesn't make him relevant. People don't watch bowling. I could keep going down the list of athletes who have used political activism and social justice to save their derailing career. One of the latest to attempt this is Sha'Carri Richardson, and she's doing it again. I say this every time we talk about her. Shakari Richardson should be studied in every public relations class in the country of what not to do when you are given fame and fortune for free, when you're given fortune without having to earn it. I'm not going to go into the background of Shakari Richardson again today and what led us to this point. We've covered it extensively here on the channel. You can find plenty of those videos in the archives. Today, we're going to focus on her latest attempt to remain relevant. For 3 or 4 months last summer, Sha'Carri Richardson was in the news damn near every day. But since finishing last place in her big return race in August or September, Sha'Carri Richardson has disappeared from the headlines, but she's tried her damnedest to keep her name in the media. Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing her name wrong, but oh well. Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva. She was cleared to compete in the Winter Olympics after previously failing a drug test for trimetazine. It's a banned drug. It's usually given to heart patients, but it also helps with an athlete's stamina. She failed the drug test back in December. Her performance last Monday helped Russia win the gold medal, but going forward, Kamila Valieva, she won't be awarded any more medals. She will be allowed to compete though. She just can't win any medals. Now, I'm not sure how that makes any sense, but the International Olympic Committee, they're not exactly known for logical thinking. When Sha'Carri Richardson heard that Kamila Valieva was allowed to continue competing, she took off her blonde wig and replaced it with her victim cap. Not only did she put on her victim cap, she also proceeded to show the world she doesn't possess the ability to pass 6th grade English. Take a look at this complete butchering of the English language. My 4-year-old nephew has a better handle on the English language than Sha'Carri Richardson. As you can see, she is claiming that she is a clear victim of racism. This decision is clearly racially motivated. I was held back because I'm black. Once again, we're going to play a game of Stump the Woker. The decision to allow Kamila Valieva to compete was made by the IOC. Shakari Richardson was suspended by the U.S. Olympic Committee, two separate institutions. So let me get this straight. The U.S. Olympic Committee, an organization that I think wants American athletes to succeed. Using Sha'Carri Richardson's own statement, she was favored to finish in the top 3 in Tokyo. After seeing her performances since then, that statement is a bit of a stretch. She would be lucky to even qualify to compete, but I digress. The U.S. Olympic Committee has such a disdain for black people that they purposefully sabotage the track and field team just to exercise their blatant racism. Does that make any fucking sense to you? Kamila Valieva should not be allowed to compete. She should not be allowed to compete. But the decision has nothing to do with race. Since Sha'Carri Richardson doesn't know the difference between the two cases, I will take the time to explain it to her. Kamila Valieva is what the World Anti-Doping Agency calls a protected person. No, she's not protected because she's a girl. She's not protected because of her race. She's not protected because she may grow up one day and identify as a shooting star. She is protected because she's a minor. She's 15 years old. Now, I don't remember the specifics, but if I remember correctly, Russia was accused last summer in Tokyo of intentionally doping their athletes, forcing their Olympic athletes to take performance-enhancing drugs. At 15 years old, you are not illegally allowed to make your own decisions. The way the IOC is looking at this, they don't want to punish a child if she was potentially forced to take PEDs. So they're going to allow her to compete, she just can't win any medals. Again, it has nothing to do with race. And this situation is completely different from Sha'Carri Richardson. At 21 years old, she was suspended for smoking weed the day before her qualifying race. No one forced her to do that. She made her own decision, exercised bad judgment. Now, at the time, she took personal responsibility for her actions, but Sha'Carri Richardson is no longer doing that. She has transformed herself into the ultimate victim. And victims, they don't accept responsibility. They place blame on anyone but themselves. Sha'Carri Richardson should actually be grateful that she was suspended. Had she not been suspended, she would still be a nobody. We would have never heard of her. She could have won the gold medal last summer in Tokyo. She still would have been irrelevant. Can you name another female track and field star? Outside of Usain Bolt, can you name a male track and field star? The U.S. Olympic Committee, they gave her a free gift. They did her a favor. Sha'Carri Richardson could have been a great story of redemption. Americans love redemption stories. She is suspended from the Olympic team. Many felt it was wrong to suspend her for smoking weed. She had the majority of the country on her side. The problem is, she failed to capitalize. She talked all this shit going into her big return race, finishes dead last. Race after that, finishes second to last. At that point, people began to lose interest in her, but she could have rebounded. Win a race or two with the right PR team, Sha'Carri Richardson could have been back in the national spotlight. But that would require hard work, something Sha'Carri Richardson seems to be allergic to. So what does she do instead? She continues to play the race card. She plays the victim card. Poor me, I am being held back because of my skin color. No. You're being held back because the majority of people can't sympathize with victims who aren't really victims. They can't sympathize when you're a victim of your own circumstance. You're your own worst enemy. Sha'Carri Richardson is all hype and no substance. Her little Twitter victim party, it has her back in the spotlight. She's receiving tens of thousands of retweets and comments. The identifiers are all coming together to support her crusade, though no one can figure out what they're crusading for. But this is all temporary. This is fleeting. Sha'Carri Richardson will be forgotten again by this time next week. 3 or 4 months from now, she will find another way to victimize herself. We'll start this entire process over. Sha'Carri Richardson knows she can't make news on the field. People don't pay attention to last place finishers. So she will continue to extort herself and her own community for her own personal financial gain. All right, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you see the difference between these two cases? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.